stories in the world. Like people actually died during these events, like real human beings. Like
people in Fallujah died about a couple years ago. So like,
yeah, exactly.
Not to say it's cool if it happened 40 years ago, but I mean, it's just unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable.
There really is like this unspoken campaign to divorce us from like humanity, it feels like.
Yeah, well, like I heard, and even though, obviously human deaths make me sick as well, but like I heard, on Alex Jones' show about like soldiers throwing puppies off of cliffs and stuff like that, and people like flipping out
about that.
Yeah, exactly. But like not that.
But that guy might have had an RPG under his stomach.
Yeah, exactly.
He explains it. Alex Jones. I remember hearing him explain. Well, you can't really pretend that dog whose back legs they blew off out of boredom was a terrorist. Mm-hmm. It was a mangy mutt who came up begging for food and for entertainment. The demonic mercenaries that we've created with our tax dollars blew the legs off of the dog for entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And and it's funny because like there's a show called Firefly. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yeah, I heard about it.
But it's whatever sci-fi kind of show, but it's kind of westerny. So there's like horses and like they don't shoot laser guns, they just shoot like regular guns, but it also takes place in space. I don't know. It's this weird mix. But anyway, there's a scene, and I was listening to director commentary, and there's a scene in there where like there's a gun battle, and they're hiding behind horses and they're like shooting, and the main character Mal, like he's trying to get to like the main villain or whatever, and he's like sick of this like nonsense, so he shoots the horse, and the horse falls on the guy, and then he's like, all right, like busted, and like the director is giving the commentary, and he's just like, you would not believe like the letters that flooded in, angry phone calls because he shot the horse, even though there was just this vicious gun battle where all these people died. People were pissed that they killed the horse,
even though he didn't really kill the horse.
And even though he didn't really, but like even like they're just like, you killed the horse, not to mention all these human lives that like imaginarily died. They didn't care about that.
Let's go ahead and we're going to play that clip from Colonel Schaefer.
All right.
Let's see what he has to say about it. And this is to certain individuals who may think that no rules were broken and that what we didn't witness was murder. Just take to heart what you hear this Army general say.
All right,
Colonel,
here it is.
excuse me.
Here it is.
The WikiLeaks video coming out last week with the video of the Apaches and the kids in the van and the Reuters reporter.
Right. Well, what do you want? You want me to talk about my assessment of it, or do you want to talk about...
Yes, sir, your assessment of it. Your assessment of it.
Well, first off, I think that the fact that there was a FOIA on that video by Reuters and the Army had resisted releasing it, that was indicative, I think, of what was on the video. I don't think people really wanted to have it out there. As I understand it now, the video has been confirmed as authentic. And that's the second problem with it. I think that it's not so much a problem that the WikiLeaks folks got it. I think it's a fact that the Army didn't stand up at the time this happened and said, hey, some mistakes were made here. And let me be clear on why I'm saying that. And I'm going to say this clearly as an academic, not as an Army Reserve officer. I'm saying this clearly as an academic. There are, from my background and experience from having been in combat, my understanding of the rules of warfare, especially in this case, the ROE, the specific rules of engagement for this specific period, which I understand are essentially the ones you can find on the internet. The 2006 rules of engagement are still valid for the most part. And this incident occurred in 2007. Based on those two factors plus the video, what is seen on the video, there are two clear rules of engagement violations that I can see. First, the first clear violation comes right after the attack begins. And I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Apache drivers here. I mean, Alex, there's a lot of things going on, and I've been told by both former Bush White House executives and folks who were in Iraq, there are things happening before and after that video regarding combat operations. Essentially the fog of warfare, the heat of battle, whatever you want to call it. The Apache...
Yeah, later in the full video, they do find some guys with guns going in a building, and they fire a Hellfire missile into it.
Well, and I got to say, I've not seen that part of the video, but I'm just trying to make sure that people understand that there were things going on before and after this video, so that there was essentially an adrenaline rush going on, and I think everybody who was there on the scene. So you can't discount that. I've been there. I understand the fact that you get so focused on what's going on. It's hard to take a step back and look hard at what's going on. So giving the benefit of the doubt, Alex, to the Apache drivers, they misidentified the Reuters journalists with their cameras. So that's the first mistake, and I think that's forgivable by the fact that it was the heat of battle.
All right, Colonel Schaefer, we got a break. We're back in 1 minute with the next hour. We'll be with us for 30 minutes. We'll continue where you left off at that point. Straight ahead, I'm Alex Jones. We'll continue with the points you were making.
All right, well, and I agree with your point on the whole justification of the war thing, Alex. You and I talked about that a little bit. I think, frankly, you and I have talked about this, and I'll say it for your benefit of your listeners. I think there's other ways we could have taken care of Iraq without a full-blown invasion. With that said, though, I think that's a topic for another day. But back to the specific video, giving the benefit of the doubt to the Apache drivers and the heat of the moment, I think there could have been justification regarding the misidentification of the bags as either weapons or RPGs, maybe. I'm pretty dubious, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. The mistakes I saw, which were the clear violations, Alex, were first off, right after they got clearance to fire. Once they fired, they should have essentially stopped then and paused and tried to figure out what was going on. And one of the clear rules that were broken is it says once someone is down, you quit shooting. They didn't quit shooting. They made sure these guys were dead. Now, as an intelligence officer, I've said this on the air, that's stupid. As an intelligence officer, you want to capture people to find out what their affiliation is, why they were doing what they were doing. Clearly, this was not good common sense. This is not something, and frankly, if I were the commander and I saw this on the battlefield, I would have stopped those soldiers right there and done something, because that's not the way you should conduct yourself. Now, let's fast forward to the ban, and this is something I think has become a very big point of contention, which I frankly think is a huge mistake both for the PR war and another clear violation of the rules of engagement. When the Reuters reporter was on the ground crawling away, they were waiting. They were trying to egg him on, hoping he'd pick up a weapon. As I said before, once a person's down, you're obligated to go in there and render aid and try to capture them and find out what's going on. When the van shows up to give him aid, and Alex, I've watched the video at least 3 times to make sure I understood it correctly. First off, if you look at the video carefully, you see people are in the van, and there is no indication from the van at any point in time that it was a threat. And this is where it clearly states that you have to have a clearly defined threat before you fire and use deadly force. In this case, it was very clear there was no threat from that van. That van was there to render aid for that individual. Now, there's reports out on this. I'm not sure if you found copies yet or not. I've been able to read the reports. I don't have a copy of them. Something called AR 15-6, Army Regulation 15-6, investigative reports, which are essentially a fact-finding investigation directed by the commander to go through and assess what happened. Within the reports relating to this incident, it talks about the fact that there were vehicles out that day, 4-door sedans, running weapons to insurgents. Well, it's very clear from the video that was not a 4-door sedan. It was fired on. So apparently in the investigation, they tried to say, well, we misidentified the van. The van, I don't think that's possible. I think the van is very clearly identified as a van, not as a 4-door sedan. So in my judgment, my professional judgment, both on my experience in Afghanistan, having been in urban warfare, having to make don't shoot decisions, and on the rules of engagement, the 2 clear violations were continuing to fire once the individuals were down, and of course firing on the van when there was no hostile threat indicated. As a matter of fact, it was the contrary. It indicated for the most part that those people were trying to render aid to that individual, which again, as an intelligence officer, they could have monitored that van, they could have followed it, and as you see in the video, U.S. forces show up within minutes of the incident to secure the area.
Yeah. Well, who are you? First
yeah,
of all,
whoa, what's going on here?
Here.
Yeah. All right, so
is the infamous, the magnanimous Michael Britt.
Yes, he showed up. He turned up.
Yeah, we thought we were going to be shorthanded tonight, but luckily for all of you listeners out there.
Sorry, I got pulled over on the way over.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I just pleaded the 5th, but I didn't actually plead the 5th. You're not supposed to say anything.
Right.
That's the point.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just kind of common sense anyway. Like, yes, no answers to police officers is generally what I give. I don't go any further than that.
If you say I plead the 5th, they'll just laugh at you. They'll be like, yeah, Sonny, that's not the way it works anymore.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't really plead the 5th while you're getting pulled over.
No.
You're not really in a position to plead the 5th.
Do you know how fast you were going? I plead the 5th.
Yeah, but that's a trick, because if you try to be somewhat honest and be like, oh, I was going 56, you just admitted to breaking the law.
Well, I know,
that's
but
all he needs. He gets that confession, and then you're done for.
That's why the appropriate answer is no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.